So yesterday, an MRI confirmed that Joe Alt has a high ankle sprain and is expected to be out several weeks. This is absolutely the last thing that the Chargers wanted to hear, as they're without Rashawn Slater for the season. And now you've got Mekhi Becton dealing with a concussion. Now, the first thing I was thinking is that the Chargers internally could end up maneuvering their offensive line. So what they could do is they could take Jamari Sawyer and put him to left tackle because he started 14 games there in 2022. But they can't do that unless Mekhi Becton is back and healthy playing right guard, because if he's not, then they have to put Sawyer there, obviously. And then on the left side would be Austin Deculus, who played in the team's final 53 snaps. I just don't think this is good enough, though, which means that they're going to have to go outside of the organization and look at free agents and the waiver wire and things like that. Or waiver wire, is that? I think that's fantasy football, right? I don't think there's a waiver wire necessarily in actual football. Let me know if there is. I'm kind of confused in that. But if somebody gets waived, right, isn't like certain teams have higher rights? I think that's how it works. But in terms of the Chargers and how they played on Sunday, very, very poorly. Deculus gave up 6 pressures. Zion gave up 4. Sawyer 4. Bozeman 2. And Pipkins 2. You're not going to win football games giving up that amount of pressure. The Giants had a 68% pass rush win rate. That was their highest since 2017 when they started tracking that stat. It's no question to why Herbert played so poorly. When he had time to throw, like that one to Quentin Johnson for the big 30-plus yard touchdown, that's kind of what we saw out of Herbert. But the majority of the game, he wasn't protected. And that's been an issue for the Chargers for years now, especially in the Staley era, is the defense gives up a bunch of yards and then they can't protect Herbert. It doesn't matter the amount of weapons this team has. And speaking of weapons, Ladd McConkey also struggled. He slipped and fell, and the result was an interception. He also had a couple of drops. So he has to be better, man. Ladd McConkey has not looked very good this season. Keenan Allen has been getting the football a ton. He should probably be getting it even more. And then Johnson as well. These two guys doing their thing. Oronde Gadsden, hopefully he can have a big-time game against the Commanders this weekend. But you just look at how the Chargers looked, and it all starts with the trenches. It always does. They also really should have ran the ball more. That was kind of an issue that I had. Is you look at Amari and Hampton, he only had 12 carries. A 54-yard run just goes to show that you got to put the ball into your guys' hands and let them take pressure off of the quarterback, and especially the offensive line, because the easiest way to help the line is to not throw the ball every time, because if it's an already weak unit, if you continue to throw, well, the pass rush knows you're throwing, and it just puts you at a huge disadvantage. Now, 13 carries is honestly pretty inexcusable, especially because of the high-level efficiency that they saw. Like Herbert had a 24-yard run. Hampton had, again, a 54-yard run. He had several other powerful runs as well. So that's something I expect the Chargers to do more of against the Commanders, is just to run the ball. No clue to why they didn't do that. I mean, what was it, guys? 4 carries, I believe, Hampton had in the first half. Just not going to get it done. Johnson and Keenan Allen, I mean, they've been crushing it all season, but Allen did only see 7 targets, caught 5 of them for 37 yards. A couple of times I thought Allen was open. It just Herbert wasn't able to get them the football. He had to rush and speed things up. And the Giants, I mean, they've got one of the best fronts in football with Lawrence. They've got Thibodeaux, of course, and they've also got Brian Burns, and they drafted an edge, of course, in the first round. So it was just way too much for the Chargers to overcome. And guys that you didn't expect to play this season had to play. Like, who saw Deculus playing, and then who saw Sawyer playing, and Pipkins, who's supposed to be the swing tackle, has been starting all season because of the Slater injury at right tackle. So it's just been a mess. But hopefully the Chargers can kind of just get by and get healthy, because when the team is fully healthy, I think they're as good as anyone in football. Doesn't matter if it's the Chiefs, if it's the Bills, if it's the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Chargers can compete with anyone, but just with what they've dealt with injuries, not to mention Khalil Mack, it's been a little bit too much to overcome. But, despite all that, I still think the Chargers should have won the game. They gave up 161 rushing yards. The Chargers haven't been forcing any turnovers, which has also been a huge issue, especially if you commit if you throw 2 interceptions, I mean, and you don't get any interceptions, it just puts you at a very, very big disadvantage. So I'd like to see the secondary be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, sitting back in kind of soft zone got absolutely shredded, and even when nobody was open, well, Jackson Dart was able to just kind of step up and pick up the yardage with his legs. So it just was not a good day for the defense, and it was a horrible day for the offense. They only are able to muster up 18 points. Now, the defense didn't, it wasn't like terrible by any means. I mean, sure, it gave up a lot of yards, but they also had a lot of field goals that they held the offense to. But when it kind of mattered, like they weren't able to stop Cam Scatterbo to give the offense a chance, and that was frustrating. I mean, by the time the Chargers got the ball, they had no timeouts in however many seconds, and it just was a pretty much a disaster. But in terms of the schedule, the Commanders, I haven't actually seen one of their games since I think it was like week 2. I mean, when they were in prime time, I don't even Packers, right? Yeah, I've only seen one of their games a year, so I'm gonna go back and watch their game tomorrow, and then I'll do my preview for the week. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels isn't playing in that game because it might be a long day for our defense at Miami. So that the benefit of well, there's no benefit to losing Joe Alt, but at least a positive thing about it is that the next two teams, like in my opinion at least, aren't very good. The Dolphins have honestly struggled this season. They just got their first win last night. Washington's definitely beatable. And then Indianapolis, that's going to be a really tough game. The Colts have looked great this season. Alt expected to miss multiple weeks, which I don't believe he was placed in IR, but I mean, probably he's going to miss like at least 2, if not 3. So I don't know if he'll be back for that game. The Colts don't have a very good pass rush. I mean, they've got Leao Tulatu, who's been awesome, but outside of him, it's non-existent. So it's not like the worst thing. Minnesota's a team that it's a Thursday night game on a short week. That's actually tough. Colts and then the Vikings on a short week. Thankfully, they're both home games. Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. The schedule doesn't get tough until the end of the season. Weeks 14 to 18 are all Texans aren't a very good team, but their defense is good. Cowboys have the best offense in football right now. It's going to be a tough game. A couple of divisional games in there. But I think for the next couple of weeks, even like the Colts, I think the Chargers will still be able to beat them shorthanded. The Vikings haven't been great by any means. I mean, J.J. McCarthy should be back for that one, but even if he is, I mean, McCarthy has had a lot of struggles. He's a rookie, so the Chargers will be just fine. I'd love to see them bring in some help from outside of the organization, but I don't think they're going to do that. I really am betting on the Chargers staying inside of their own team and just that next man up mindset. The question is going to be, will it be good enough? Because you look at their line and no Joel, no Slater, obviously. Mekhi Becton's questionable. Sawyer, Decolis, these guys are going to have to play. Man, I mean, if Bradley Bozeman goes down, we're talking about Andre James having to step in. I mean, I just didn't really see injuries being a big thing for the Chargers. Everything seemed to be going so well until not even 2 weeks after Slater signed that extension, he got hurt, and after that, it's just been a downhill from there. But with Justin Herbert healthy, you have a chance every single week to win. They just have to keep the turnovers down to a minimal. And defensively, man, they've got to be better. I mean, I thought the defense looked super soft. They weren't even touching the running game like whatsoever. Like Scottaboo would get like to the second level, and then to that point he's got all the momentum, and then Jackson Dart was picking up so many yardage with his legs. Coverage was pretty honestly good the entire game. It's just if you have all day to throw, then if any quarterback's gonna be able to find somebody, and that's kind of what happened for the Chargers. And I was just going and I was looking at the game, and I saw all the celebrations that the Giants were doing, and it was honestly pretty embarrassing. The first 2 days after an L kind of suck, but then like after that, it's like whatever.